You know what's funny about national parks? Millions of people visit the same handful every year: Yellowstone, Yosemite, Zion, the Grand Canyon. And while those parks are incredible, some of America's most spectacular landscapes are hiding in places most travelers never even consider. Today, we're counting down 12 hidden gem national parks that deserve far more attention than they get. Stick around, because some of these parks will completely change how you think about America's national parks. Number 12. Congaree National Park, South Carolina. Most people don't expect one of America's most unique national parks to sit in South Carolina. That's exactly why Congaree surprises so many visitors. Instead of mountains or canyons, this park protects the largest old-growth bottomland hardwood forest in the United States. Massive trees tower overhead. Some loblolly pines rise more than 160 feet into the sky. The easiest way to explore is the Boardwalk Loop Trail. The elevated path winds through the forest and gives you a close look at an ecosystem that barely exists anywhere else in the country. For a different perspective, head to Cedar Creek. Paddling through the flooded forest is like entering another world. A waterproof dry bag is worth bringing if you plan to kayak here. Congaree receives around 200,000 visitors in a good year. Yosemite gets well over 4 million. Yet the experience is unlike anything you'll find in Yellowstone or Yosemite. 11. Theodore Roosevelt National Park, North Dakota. Theodore Roosevelt once said he would never have become president without his experiences in North Dakota. After visiting this park, it's easy to understand why. Colorful badlands stretch across the horizon. Wild horses roam the grasslands. Bison graze beside scenic roads. Prairie dog towns seem to appear around every corner. Unlike many national parks, this one doesn't rely on a single iconic attraction. The entire landscape is the attraction. The South Unit Scenic Drive is one of the highlights. Overlook after overlook reveals terrain painted in shades of red, gold, and gray. And the crowds, they're surprisingly small. Many travelers spend hours searching for wildlife in Yellowstone. Here, wildlife often appears without much effort at all. It's one of the most overlooked national parks in America, and one of the easiest hidden gems to visit. Number 10. Great Basin National Park, Nevada. If someone asked you to name a national park in Nevada, chances are you'd struggle to come up with one. That's why Great Basin belongs on this list. The park protects an incredible mix of mountains, caves, forests, and desert landscapes. Wheeler Peak rises nearly 13,000 feet above sea level and often holds snow long after the surrounding desert heats up. Then there are the bristlecone pines. Some of these ancient trees are more than 4,000 years old. They were already ancient when the pyramids were built. Below the mountains lies another surprise. Lehman Caves features elaborate limestone formations hidden beneath the surface. Then night falls, and Great Basin becomes something else entirely. The park features some of the darkest skies in America. On clear nights, thousands of stars fill the sky from horizon to horizon. A lightweight travel tripod can make a huge difference if you're planning any night photography. Places like this remind you how much of the modern world we've forgotten to look up. 9. Lassen Volcanic National Park, California. Most people think Yellowstone has a monopoly on geothermal features. Lassen proves otherwise. Steam vents hiss from the ground. Mud pots bubble. Hot springs color the landscape. In some areas, it looks like the Earth is still under construction. The most famous geothermal area is Bumpass Hell. A boardwalk trail leads past steaming vents and boiling pools that seem almost unreal. But Lassen offers much more than geothermal activity. The park is also home to alpine lakes, forests, waterfalls, and volcanic peaks. In fact, it's one of the few places on Earth where all 4 major volcano types can be found in the same park. Despite all that, Lassen receives only a fraction of Yellowstone's visitors. Many travelers leave wondering why they hadn't heard more about it sooner. 8. Guadalupe Mountains National Park, Texas. Mountains aren't what most travelers expect to find in Texas. Guadalupe Mountains changes that immediately. The park contains the 4 highest peaks in the state, including Guadalupe Peak, which rises nearly 8,750 feet above sea level. Visit in autumn and Guadalupe Mountains becomes even more impressive. McKittrick Canyon erupts in shades of red, orange, and gold. The display rivals famous fall destinations in New England, yet most Americans have never heard of it. The hiking here is rugged and rewarding. There are no large lodges, no major tourist town sitting just outside the entrance, no crowds lining the trails. What you get instead is open space, dramatic desert scenery, and a level of solitude that's becoming harder to find in many national parks. That's what makes Guadalupe Mountains stand out. 7. Pinnacles National Park, California. This park didn't even become a national park until 2013, and many travelers still drive right past it. Pinnacles sits a few hours south of San Francisco and offers one of the most unusual landscapes in California. Towering rock spires rise above the terrain. Talus caves weave beneath the cliffs. Condors circle overhead. In fact, Pinnacles is one of the best places in the country to see California condors in the wild. The cave systems add another layer of adventure. You aren't simply walking through a canyon, you're squeezing through boulders, climbing narrow passages, and exploring spaces that look more like a movie set than a hiking trail. Good hiking shoes become especially valuable here. Pinnacles doesn't receive the attention given to Yosemite or Sequoia, but for many visitors, that's part of the appeal. 6. Royale National Park, Michigan. Some national parks require a little planning. Royale requires commitment. Located in Lake Superior, this remote island can only be reached by ferry or seaplane. There are no roads, no cars, no cell service. For many visitors, that's the entire appeal. The island contains more than 165 miles of hiking trails winding through forests, rocky shorelines, and quiet inland lakes. Moose roam freely across the landscape. Wolves still hunt here, creating one of the most famous predator-prey ecosystems in the world. Getting here takes effort. That's exactly what keeps the crowds away. Few places in the eastern half of the United States still offer this level of wilderness. People don't accidentally end up at Royale. They choose it, and many of them come back again and again. Number 5. Black Canyon of the Gunnison National Park, Colorado. The Grand Canyon gets most of the attention. Black Canyon makes a strong argument for sharing some of it. The first thing you'll notice is how steep everything is. The canyon walls plunge almost straight down toward the Gunnison River. In some sections, sunlight reaches the bottom for less than an hour each day. Standing at the rim, it's hard to believe what you're looking at. One overlook after another reveals dark cliffs, narrow chasms, and sheer drops that seem almost impossible. The South Rim Drive makes these views easy to access, but adventurous travelers can take things much further. Unmarked routes descend deep into the canyon, leading toward the river far below. They're steep, challenging, and definitely not for everyone. Even from the rim, though, Black Canyon delivers one of the most dramatic landscapes in the entire national park system. 4. North Cascades National Park, Washington. If this park were located in Europe, it would probably be one of the continent's most famous destinations. Instead, it's hiding in northern Washington. North Cascades contains more than 300 glaciers, more than any other national park in the lower 48. Jagged peaks dominate the skyline, waterfalls spill down mountain walls, wildflowers blanket alpine meadows during summer. One stop stands out above the rest, Diablo Lake. The water glows with an almost impossible shade of turquoise, created by glacial sediment suspended beneath the surface. Many visitors head to Mount Rainier or Olympic National Park instead. That's good news for everyone else. Some trails here remain surprisingly quiet, even during peak season. A comfortable pair of hiking shoes goes a long way here. The farther you hike, the harder it becomes to turn around. Number 3. Wrangell St. Elias National Park, Alaska. Okay, this is the park I promised might blow your mind. Wrangell St. Elias isn't just the largest national park in America, it's the largest by a ridiculous margin. The park covers 13.2 million acres. For comparison, it's larger than Yellowstone, Yosemite, and the entire country of Switzerland combined. And somehow, fewer than 100,000 people visit each year. Photos don't come close to showing how massive this place is. Massive glaciers stretch toward the horizon. Entire mountain ranges disappear into the distance. Peaks that would dominate most national parks barely stand out here. Then there's Kennecott, an abandoned copper mining town sitting beside a glacier. The buildings remain standing, creating one of the most unusual historical sites in the national park system. Everything here operates on a scale that's difficult to comprehend, and yet somehow, it's still only number 3. 2. Channel Islands National Park, California. Most people think they know California. Then they visit Channel Islands. Located just off the Southern California coast, this park consists of 5 islands accessible only by boat or small aircraft. No roads, no stores, no Wi-Fi, just rugged coastline, dramatic cliffs, and wildlife found nowhere else on Earth. The most popular destination is Santa Cruz Island, and one attraction stands above the rest: Painted Cave, one of the largest sea caves in the world. Kayaking into the cave is an unforgettable experience. Waves echo through the darkness while sunlight reflects off colorful rock walls. A waterproof phone pouch is worth bringing for this adventure. The islands are also home to the Channel Islands fox, a species found nowhere else on Earth. And during whale migration season, gray whales regularly pass offshore. Channel Islands takes more effort than most national parks, but the reward is something completely different from the typical park experience. Number 1. Gates of the Arctic National Park, Alaska. Most national parks have roads. Gates of the Arctic doesn't. Most national parks have marked trails. Gates of the Arctic doesn't. Most national parks have visitor centers. You guessed it, not here. This is America's ultimate hidden gem. Located entirely above the Arctic Circle, Gates of the Arctic protects more than 8 million acres of wilderness. There are no roads leading into the park, no developed campgrounds, no established hiking trails. Visitors are completely on their own. The landscape is a vast collection of mountains, rivers, tundra, and untouched wilderness stretching farther than the eye can see. Only a tiny number of people visit each year. For many travelers, that's exactly the appeal. This isn't a place you casually stop by during a road trip. Getting here takes work. That's part of the point. Few places in America still offer this level of freedom and isolation. In a country filled with famous national parks, Gates of the Arctic remains one of the last places where true wilderness still dominates everything. That's our list: 12 hidden gem national parks that prove you don't need to follow the crowd to find extraordinary landscapes. Which one would you visit first? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this countdown, check out our video on the least crowded national parks in America. Some of the parks on that list might surprise you. Click the video on your screen, and I'll see you there.